Can you figure out where you're going? Go, go, go. Get up. Come here.
No.
He's been since he just took a bath. Okay, and you got my mic falling loose.
Oh, this on my back?
It's off.
Okay, here.
It's just funny because like we didn't plan this, and this is what they want. So this is what's happening.
All right.
Okay. Hello. Welcome to the Creative Women Wanted podcast. I'm Diamond Williamson. I am your host. This podcast is for creative women in television and film. I mean, really, honestly, it's for creative women. As I've evolved, I know that like who this podcast is for has evolved. And in today's episode, I've been doing a lot of internal work and I've been sharing that on the podcast, but today I wanted to get deep. And the name of this episode is Before Anything, We Are Human. And, I want to talk about being human and being an artist in this episode. So like I said, I know this show historically is about creative women in television and film and television, and usually my guests have worked in television. However, today's guest allows me an opportunity to be transparent about being human and to get really deep about being an artist, which again is what the episode is about. So I think we are creative women. I think that we have these titles, but at the end of the day, we are artists. But before artists, we are human. And I've been embracing more of my humanity this year, and that has brought me a lot of peace. And I want to talk about that journey today. And I want to share with you with somebody who I've been on the journey with for a very, very long time. I got my girl here, not just my girl, but my girl.
No.
My girl. What you want me to call you?
Your boo.
My boo, my fiancé is in the building. Okay. She has never been on the podcast before. So it's really exciting. I don't even know if we've done a formal interview like this before.
I don't think so. I think we've done my little interviews for music just because we were, having fun. They were your idea, but not, where we're just talking about something other than music or. Right.
So this is our first time doing something like this. But I'm very excited. I think that, I was listening to one podcast with this woman that I know, Patrice Washington. I've known her for almost 15 years and I've seen her evolve. And there was this one episode she had with somebody that was really close to her, and I could just see the difference in her. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. If you have somebody in a space where you're being vulnerable, if you have somebody that you can be vulnerable with, there's a different layer of depth there. And, you and I are you are the perfect guest for me to talk about what it means to be human, because a lot of my humanity has come, or a lot of me seeing who I am as a human has come within this safe place, our relationship. So you want to introduce yourself?
All the time.
Exactly. So do you want to give the audience a more formal introduction?
Yeah, so I am Syd, Diamond's fiance, partner, boo, Syd Jones. I am a rapper as well.
Period. You are also, outside of those titles, what else are you? You're a sister.
Yeah, I'm a sister, daughter, granddaughter. And even when I think about rapper, I'm okay, I give that name so that people know, because when I say musical artist or musician, they're like, okay, what? But it's I really like to be known as a musical artist.
Musical artist, yes, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, our dogs wanted to be in this.
Yeah, and I think they should get down.
Get down.
Sorry.
Get down.
Y'all go somewhere else.
Yeah, go sit down. Y'all can just look.
Maybe they can have that blanket over there. Yeah. Needs to be set up.
Okay, we had to get our dogs together. But how, so you mentioned that you're a musical artist too. That's what you feel most connected to. So what's your relationship with work? I know for me, for example, my relationship with work has really, it's been I centered it a lot of my life. So if work wasn't going right, sometimes it felt like not a lot of other things were going right, just because I know that a lot of my value at some point in my life was tied to my work. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious about your relationship with work.
I feel like my relationship from work stems from, I feel like my relationship with work stems from seeing my parents and everybody obviously I know work, and it seems like they always worked jobs because they had to. Warehouse jobs, and that's it, mainly warehouse jobs. So it's like when I think about work or my relationship with work, I think about that and how I never seen anybody do anything for work that was like purpose driven or that brought them joy. It was like, I got to go to work and make this money, and then it still was like me and, you know, the bare minimum of like just getting by. So when I think of work, I think of that, and then it also, that gave me the same mindset, you know what I'm saying? After dropping out of college, you know, I would go and just try to find work to make some money to pay some bills. It was never me looking at any of my gifts and figuring out how I can monetize and enjoy what I do. So when I think of work, it feels like work. So I never have centered my life around it. So
it's so interesting because we was always like opposite in that way, and I think my challenge though was that my work was my, like, I was an artist in my work, and at some point it drained me though, because I'm like, I just didn't even feel like an artist anymore. I just felt like I was a robot. I felt like I was a machine, like I gotta pump this stuff out, but nobody valued me the way, well, not nobody, but I felt very invaluable to certain people. And I was told that at some point, you know, that it wasn't valuable. But I feel like, you know, in the work that I've done personally over the years, but especially this year, you know, I've been able to de-center work. And I think it seems like for your journey, it's been a little bit of, well, tell me, like, when you think about work as it relates to your gift, do you connect the two now, or?
That's a good question, because I feel like I've told you before that, okay, I work my job, because obviously I'm still working a job today. It's like I work my job and then I have to come home and do music or whatever it is. And I feel like that would feel like work too, because it's like I was tired. So now I'm trying to like, you know, create a different perspective around it and get back to it, you know, just being art and me enjoying it, you know, as art in an art form versus like another job or more work. Right.
And how we even came to this conversation was because I, you know, earlier this year, I kept just having all these struggles with trying to get to my goal, and my therapist was like encouraging for me to find joy outside of work. And in that pursuit, it became less about finding joy and more about like centering my humanity, like centering what it meant to be human all around versus like just centering my work, which is, you know, what we're talking about today. So like, what do you think about, have you ever thought about like your humanity, or like, what does it mean? What do you think about when you think about the human experience? Because I think it's like so much of our life and our generation is just like work, career, goal, escalate, you know, it's just, but what about to be human? What does that mean for you?
I think to connect the last question and the question that you're asking me now, it makes me think about being present. Because when I think about slowing down and changing my perspective and doing my music, I'm trying to think more of like, because that's why I would feel like work, is because it's like, oh, I have this much time now, you know, after working a 9 to 5 for myself. And it's like, now this feels like work. And I feel like when I slow down and I'm changing the perspective to make it, you know, something that when I'm doing my music and it'll seem more enjoyable when I slow down and just be present with it.
And so that's what so for you to be human means to be present.
To be present and enjoy all experiences.
Exactly.
You know, and stop putting so much pressure on myself to do this, be that. It's just like being present.
I can agree. And I would add something that I realized today, actually, was like, I'm content. And I think content has been a bad word, like, in my life, like, you can't be content. You gotta, well, that means you're lazy. But it's
Right.
like, but I am content. I am happy with how today's going. Like, I'm happy how yesterday went. I'm happy with the pace that I'm going. Like,
Right.
you know, I have health challenges, but I'm like, that's gonna work out. But like, I'm content. And I think for me, that's what I'm realizing. If I can encompass to be human, is like to be present and to be content. Cause like, I feel like actually, if you're content, you can be present too.
Right. You're being
enjoying
grateful for
yeah.
what you have. You're not looking at social media being like, okay, I want this,
Exactly.
this, and this. And it just seems like so much pressure because people are already, I feel like in today's time, overwhelmed
Yeah.
with tasks. And I think it's because
There's so much to do. There's so much to accomplish. There's so much to strive for. And I know that I was like a person who was striving, and couldn't even be in the moment because I'm thinking about what I need to do next.
exactly.
So how did you get can you talk a little bit about your journey, briefly, to becoming present? Because I think it's something that I've heard a lot to do because, I've been on a spiritual journey for a while. So I'd always hear it, but to embody it is different. Like, so what does that look like for you to get there to where you feel like you're present?
It's just for me, it's just a constant reminder. Like I can start feeling overwhelmed, like how we talk first thing in the morning, walking the dogs. I'm just ready to get back to like some me time. And it's like, but I got to wash these dishes. And I'm like, okay, I feel extremely frustrated washing these dishes, but then something will pop in my head and be like, just be present doing it. Whether that's like, I'm listening to music, listening to a new album that, I haven't heard. And it's like, I'm doing something at the same time where it's like this time is still valuable. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm being present with these dishes. Like it's just a constant reminder for me. That's how I am, how I am staying present is by, just it'll pop in my head. And I think it's just because I'm more aware now. So it'll pop in my head like, okay, well, just be present. And then
I feel like you've definitely been telling yourself that more because, like we've been together 8 years. So I know I've seen an evolution of you and your worries and like to you being less worried, or at least visibly less worried. It doesn't seem like you're as worried. Like
exactly. Like I feel like, I'm human. I have my times where I'm just like super frustrated. Like, I'm walking the dogs.
They're frustrating.
And Parker throws up. Prince goes after a dog. Then I have to pull him back, and his shoulder hits the curb, and it's like, I come back in here.
So much drama.
I'm like, why do I have to go through all this? So I had to take a deep breath, and like I said, I think because now I'm aware of how I want to feel.
Exactly.
Because we've been talking about feelings a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like
I gotta touch on that.
Yeah, like how do I want to feel? And it's like, it's 11 a.m. Like I don't want to feel stressed for the rest of the day. So let me take this deep breath and focus on the task at hand, which is like, let me just wash these dishes. And to make it fun, let me play an album I haven't heard. And because I'm in music, this is me like doing my research and me studying the game. Right. And it's like, I feel like my time is valuable then and I'm not wasting time or like I'm not in a rush.
Right. I think like you mentioned, feelings. And I think that's what's actually like helped me. That's one of the things that's helped me be most present is paying attention to how I feel and honoring them because one emotion that I've experienced a lot this year is obviously anger, but I've been angry before, but I've never like let myself feel anger and like go through it. And I think that, in allowing myself to go through it has helped me with my presence. But I think in general, like feeling my feelings has really helped me be present because sometimes I'm afraid to feel them because what am I going to do? What's going to happen? It's such a physical feeling.
Exactly.
But I definitely think that's something that's helped me be present.
Feeling your feelings.
Feeling my feelings. Like for real. And I think some of the things that we say sound easy or don't sound like, oh, okay, feel your feelings, but to really do it is really life-changing. Like I'm finding that it really is the small details of life that have impacted me the most.
Right. And see, that's for me being present because it's like I can focus on the moment and then I'm like going through all the things like how do I feel? How do I want to feel? And then I get to a place of like, you know, what do I want? And it's like, okay, right now I want to listen to music or like have some me time, do something I enjoy, and then now I'm listening to music and doing dishes, and it's like I'm making it enjoyable for me.
And I feel like that's really been helpful to my artistic process, because I think the thing about being an artist is that it's about self-expression, right? Which was we talk about, and it's like in order to self-express, I got to deal with myself. I got to really deal with myself and know like what it is that I actually want to say, and that comes with actually knowing myself, all of myself, my feelings, my thoughts, my anger, my joy, all of those things.
Exactly, getting clear.
Yeah, and I think that only comes from like being with ourselves, like actually being with ourselves. And when I say being with ourselves, I'm tying it back to like what this episode is about, which is like to be human first. We are humans first. So has it been important for you lately to like honor what you need as a human, and like why?
Yes, because I feel like I've grown up and just been so anxious for most of my life, and I think when we moved away from home and I was able to have more space for myself, I realized that I was able to think more about what I want. And then when I realized, you know, whether that's something so simple as like going to play basketball, something I really enjoyed doing when I was younger, or, you know, like how, you know, tomorrow I'll go to have pie by myself, pie and coffee, and it's like just something I want to do. And then after doing that, how I feel makes me realize like it's very important for me to do what I want to do, and
for yourself,
for myself. Because it's just a really good feeling to like, it's like, you know, that feeling of like self-care. You're taking care of yourself, you're making sure you're good. And I think that's very important for me, because all my life I've tried to make sure everybody else is good.
Right. Oldest child here, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean just in general, right? But like I know I love that, and I think like California helped me with that too, because I was very tied up in my friends and like them knowing I was a good friend, and I was very tied up in like my career and getting there, and I still took the career stuff to LA, but the friend thing, it kind of diminished, because like one, I didn't have them there, but two, like I couldn't, and then I had a friend breakup. So I agree, like moving away definitely helped me to see more of my humanity, because now I'm in therapy. I'm not so much talking about my friends and all of that. I'm talking about myself and work, and it led me to this point now where I've decentered work and centered what it means to be a human, like outside of work, which I see is like so much of just, like you said, going to get you some pie and coffee, or for me, like taking care of my health and wellness, stretching in the morning, making sure I got time to read, you know, just all of those things. And I think that like, it's definitely still a practice. I think all of this is a practice, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think we'll be practicing this
forever, right?
In our 90s, as far as like, you know, we'll have more wisdom, but it's still going to be an everyday wake up.
Absolutely.
Choose yourself.
Right.
Choose to feel your feelings and, you know, be present.
I definitely agree, but I will say it's like, it's something that, and I will say that it's something that I am prioritizing now more than I used to. So I know that it gradually will become who I am, and then, you know, got to keep going. I definitely also find myself, the more that I center my humanity and like what it means to be human, the more aligned I feel as an artist, versus being the type of person that just like listens to what the rules are of selling a television show or producing content for social media. It's like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
It ain't me. I had to realize like I was trying to satisfy the algorithm and like not myself.
Exactly.
First, you know. Have you ever felt like that?
For sure. Like, yeah, because I have to create content around my music, and it's like, it just sucks because I don't really care about it, but it's like, you know, I do want to share my art to get it out. That's the point of me creating the art. But it sucks to like take a break for mental reasons and then come back and then you post something and you only get a few likes because now you're out of the algorithm.
Yeah.
Because you didn't keep up and it's just like not fun.
Right. It really is not fun. And it's like I've definitely made it my mission with my art moving forward is to like get on the ground, to get in community, to like see people face to face and make that connection, or to just make more one-on-one connections, because I'm not about to be the algorithm like girl bye.
Yeah, I'm like pressured like, okay, well maybe I should post more, and it's like no. I don't even feel like
no,
going back and forth about that.
I'm just gonna write people individually, but community and being in community like is something that's become more important to me as an artist, and I've always appreciated that, but I've always desired that because my work is for a specific community, Black women, but the way that I connect with them and the way that they'll get my art is gonna look different for me moving forward, because like I'm doing what's best for me, not social media or the algorithm.
Right.
At the end of the day.
I love that.
Thank you. Is there anything else you feel like is really important for people to know? You know, especially us artists, right? Like us creatives. Is there anything else you think that is important for them to know about what it means to be human to you? Like, how are you taking your practices and moving forward with your own art?
I think it's really important to affirm ourselves. I don't think that when it comes to art, we should be so focused on like, being accepted by other people or like being validated by other people. I think that, you know, we should make it a practice to affirm ourselves and keep doing our art, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's not for other people. Like it ends up being for other people because you make an impact in some kind of way. You know, somebody reaches out and tells you like how much they appreciate you for doing that because it really touched them. But first and foremost, it's like it's in a way to express, you know, your experiences. So it's like, why would we seek validation from something where it's like, it's our experience, like it's our art. But you know, it's hard because it's like, as an artist, like you want people to love your stuff. So
it's like, it's for somebody though at the end of the day, and I feel like it's a practice. Affirming ourselves is a practice, wouldn't you say? Like it's, and I think like, for me, the more present that I am, the more I catch myself and know, like, I gotta remind myself. Or sometimes, like, I mean, I seek it from you in some way. I still affirm myself, but you always remind me to affirm myself. You always remind me who I am, and I could take those reminders and, like, use those to affirm myself, too.
Right.
So I think, like, having...
And you affirm me as well, you know, because I have my moments.
Yeah, it's like we have our moments because we're still human, right? And that's the other thing. We kind of, like, when I have my moment, you're not like, girl, don't think like that. You know, you're like, I understand. And, like, you are this and you've done that. And you remember that you are doing this.
Right. I totally
really appreciate that. Yeah, like, I think that's another way. It's like, also what's important is, like, what I'm grateful for is, like, as I see my humanity, you see it more too, and vice versa. As the more you see yourself, the more I see you too, and we can support each other in that. So,
exactly.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome. I hope we have many more conversations.
I hope we have many more conversations too. I act silly around you, but thank you for joining. I hope that, you know, my hope is that in listening to this episode, you know, you all were just, you know, I don't know what you'll take away from it. Whatever you take away from it is fine. I hope that something resonated. I do. So if you like this episode, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the podcast. Please rate and review this episode. Please also share with anyone that you feel could benefit. Talk to you soon.